Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the papers. Punch.
I have a human interest story. So days after a Lagos banker, Osemudiamen Idemudia, was declared missing by his family, his body was recovered at a morgue in the Yaba area of the state. So according to Punch Metro, they said that Idemudia had worked in the point of sale department of a commercial bank in Ikota area of Lagos State and was last seen on the evening of May 9th in the CMS area of the state. So one of the relatives, Segun, spoke to the correspondent and said that the corpse was discovered on Sunday during a desperate search across hospitals and morgues in the state. He said the deceased, this 26-year-old, he was a banker, was found with deep machete cuts on his head, face, and legs.
Wow.
He said the discovery raised suspicion that he may have been murdered. So they have said they found the body, he was murdered. We found the body on Sunday in a morgue at Yaba with machete cuts on his head, face, and legs. And they said he was brought to the morgue by police. Now, when they asked the morgue attendants, they said it was a policeman that brought him, but they didn't know from which station. They didn't have anything on the police, so they couldn't trace how he was, found and brought to the morgue. So it's just a very sad story that somebody would just lose their life, and we can't still trace, what has caused that.
Please. Another story in Punch. We'll move on.
Yeah, so the immigration, the controller of immigration, Kemi Nandap, has disclosed that the agency is intensifying efforts to, secure the borders. Particularly, they are working on the maritime frontiers to curb terrorism, piracy, and they said other transnational crimes. There was a workshop that took place in titled in Abuja, titled "The Maritime Security in Context of the Counter-Terrorism in the Gulf of Guinea area," and it was when she was delivering her speech at that particular event that she highlighted that there's a strategic gathering that reflects the commitment of the West African nations to jointly tackle the range of maritime threats. So this, because the event was focused on maritime threats and maritime challenges, the context of the conversation was also dealing with how to mitigate maritime threats that are affecting Nigeria and other West African countries by fortifying the defense capabilities of the maritime domain. So what specifically they'll be doing: passenger facilitation, control of traffic documents at the root of all, according to them, the root of all counterterrorism intervention. So they'll be doing that. They're also using technologies to increase surveillance, and with the expectation that when all of these are put together, we should have a more secure maritime area.
Okay. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Three-horse battle tears PDP apart. Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer absolves DSS of alleged denial of access. CBN raises the alarm over declining oil prices and geopolitical tensions. Tinubu stands no chance in 2027, says El Rufai. Headers cue PDP chair, others in Benue. NBA tackles reps over compulsory voting bill. And 2027, all Southeast governors supporting Tinubu, says Umahi.
Yes, again, sadly, gunmen suspected to be headsmen militia have reportedly killed 4 persons in communities of Guma local government area in Gwer West, local government area of Benue. It was gathered that the killings occurred on Monday in a renewed round of attacks in the state. They said headers shot the immediate past chairman of the PDP for Sedam. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this area council, but it's in Gwer West local government area, James Akase, killing him on the spot. It was also gathered that in a separate attack on the same day, the headsmen killed 3 other persons in some communities in the Guma local government area of the state. So there's a public analyst, Samuel, who disclosed to newsmen that the attacks on the aforementioned communities were coordinated and unprovoked. He explained that the multiple attacks by the headers that occurred on Monday left many people in the community severely injured, while others are currently receiving treatment at various hospitals across the area. Meanwhile, the current PDP ward chairman noted that Akase, former ward chairman, who was displaced from his ancestral home, met his death when he went to his ancestral home in search of food to sustain his family. So really, the stories just read alike. unidentified gunmen walk into a community, havoc everywhere, kill people, injure so many, and leave. And then we sit down here, we read the papers, and we hear investigations will go on. So again, another sad news, and while we wait for the next one to happen. Just
Yes,
Can I take the NBA story?
yes.
So the NBA has, condemned the compulsory voting amendment of the electoral act to allow for compulsory voting, as proposed by the National Assembly. The president of the NBA, Alpha Mosigwe, says this bill is inconsistent with the spirit and the letter of the 1999 Constitution, particularly Section 39 and Section 40. Section 40, of course, guarantees the right of association. It says, which also guarantees the right not to want to associate, as well as Section 39, which guarantees every citizen the right of freedom of expression, which includes the right to silence, dissent, and abstention. And that in a democracy, the right to vote is a civil liberty, not a legal obligation, and compelling citizens to vote through coercive legal measures violates the fundamental rights of Nigerians. And I hope that all of this will be put into perspective and the right thing will do.
Yeah, so former Attorney General of the Federal Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Kanuji Agabi, and lead counsel to the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, that's IPOB, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, has stated that the Department of State Service never denied him access to his client. He also said the trial of the IPOB leader, which has run for 10 years, has finally come to an end. In a letter to Asiwaju Adeboyega, counsel to the DSS in the case against IPOB, the letter was dated May 16. He said, contrary to media reports, he was never denied access to Kanu. I take this opportunity to refute the allegation that DSS, denied me access to the defendant. This is not so at all. On the long trial of IPOB leader, the former AGF in the letter also said, this charge has been hanging over the head of the defendant for 10 years. It has been brought to an end. The defendant must be prosecuted as is being done, and he must defend himself as he is doing. The defendant and his supporters ought not to be angry that he's being prosecuted, nor should his opponents be angry that he's defending himself. So he went ahead to also clear reports, clear the air on reports in social media over Kanu's trial. He said, I apologize firstly for myself to the court and your good self for the mistakes that I have made in the conduct of this case so far. I realize that I have made quite a few. I apologize secondly for whoever is responsible for the false reports in the social media of the proceedings in this case. For some of us in the defense team, we are on it not to plead our merits. We are on it not to plead our merit or competence, but the mercy of God, in the fervent hope that the peace that has eluded our country for so long will finally be our lot. He said we are in this case defending vigorously and prayerfully as we ought to. We took up the defense in fulfillment of our duty to the profession and in compliance with our ethics. To do otherwise would have been to condemn him beforehand. So it says this is the service to the nation, this service to the defendant, this service to our Lord. And they are praying that it goes as it should.
Vanguard, our final paper for this morning. National Assembly budget disagree over 6.93 trillion naira projects in budget 2025. How I beg Yar'Adua not to fight Obasanjo, says Lamido. 2.9 million children, Nigerian children, suffering from severe malnutrition, says UNICEF. How stray bullets killed WAEC student during chase in Ibadan. 2027, 5 Southeast governors are with Tinubu, says Umahi. This school's performance in power supply disappointing, says federal government. And UTM results due to human error, not technical glitch, says reps. Okay.
So I want to take the Minister for Power. He don't vex. So he was before the committee, the Senate Committee on Power, and he said that it's the discourse that are frustrating their efforts. He says that the poor electricity that we're experiencing is totally on the discourse, and that through his special advisor on strategic communications, he was speaking, saying that they continue to derail the progress that the administration is looking to cover, to get through power. He says the glaring disparity in the distribution company performance with aging network, rampant electricity theft, and poor investment deepening reliance on unsustainable subsidies and leaving millions in darkness is what we keep experiencing. We need to get tough with the discourse, that as they can easily frustrate all the gains that we have made. he noted that the discos were supposed to have technical partners, but a lot of them showed partnership with foreign companies for that purpose, and it only lasted about 3 months, after which, immediately after they took over office, and so they've been left to struggle on their own. So they need utility companies that can invest in the sector to improve infrastructure, improve service, and adding that a lot of them went to the bank to take loans to buy assets after taking over. Instead of providing infrastructure, they are taking out the money to pay the loans. So you see how the estimated bills that the discos are harping on, they need to service their loans and pay back their loans. So, and the infrastructure that was supposed to be created for those loans are not existing, and so a lot of things, they don't throw them under bus.
Yeah, I have the UNICEF has revealed that approximately 2.9 million Nigerian children are suffering from severe acute malnutrition, SAM. The country representative of UNICEF, Mrs. Christian Munduate, made this known in Ilorin on Monday. She emphasized the need for immediate hospital care to prevent the timely deaths of affected children. She said that 40,000 packs of ready-to-use therapeutic food, that's RUTF, through the Child Nutrition Fund, that over 40% of children in Kwara State are affected by malnutrition. So she said this while she was handing over these 40,000 packs. She also said that the Kwara State government had contributed $100,000 to access this Child Nutrition Fund with UNICEF, and matching the amount. According to our records, that's according to her, she says 2.9 million children in Nigeria are suffering from severe acute malnutrition, which is a troubling situation. The affected children should be taken to hospitals immediately. UNICEF introduced this Child Nutrition Fund to boost investment in nutrition policies and programs, and they are committed to partnering with Kwara State government to combat malnutrition, especially during the critical first 1,000 days. So this 100,000 that was contributed by Kwara State is an arrangement that UNICEF has with other state governments, as in if you're willing to make that 100,000 contribution, then they can come and hand over to you those RUTF, and also, you know, look into the children who are malnourished. So some of the things that were identified as the reason for malnutrition, she says poverty, climate change, food insecurity, and related challenges as key drivers for severe acute malnutrition. So Kwara State is being highlighted here as, you know, motivated to positively impact their own children. And I'm guessing that many other states will be doing this, and if not, this is something that you should get on quickly, as to have 2.9 million Nigerian children living malnourished, that's scary.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review today. We're going to shop it. When we come back, we'll bring in our special features. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.